So, in the guest lecture with Ryan Sparry, he is the Vice President of Integrated Client Solutions at Basis Technologies. And he started his career in News Channel 34 in Binghamton, where he did website and social media for them right after college in 2013. And then he moved back to Rochester and he started working at Butler and Telemarketing Agency. And then he moved to Helen and Gertrude, where he was the first media buyer for the company, and then he ran the media branch of that agency. Then he moved to Brio, and from there he moved to Basis, where he's currently the VP of Client Solutions, and he's focusing on higher education and pharmaceutical companies right now.
Ryan then talked about Lumascape, it is a consulting company that shows what the media landscape looks like. For example, like to show if the industry, like your company, like whatever company or brand that you're in, like the industry is fragmented. His team runs media on clients' behalves.
He showed the chart with like different segments, and that was in Lumascape. And media planning, so he talked about media planning, which is basically looking at clients' problems and the problems that needs to be addressed by his company. It could be anywhere from like driving the sales or creating awareness about the product and the brand. So his team does research on what the company is already doing and what its competitors are also doing in the market and what they can do to drive the results they want. And he also talked about how, like, to increase brand awareness, it is very important to increase the reach and exposure to ads to your target audience. You have to make sure that your target audience you are targeting the right target audience for your brand, and also that they are seeing your ads multiple times so that they remember it and it gets stored in their long-term memory. And if the goal is to increase sales, on the other hand, then it's very important to retarget the ad to the people. For example, if I'm selling something to Rashad and he's my target audience, I have to make sure that I retarget the ad to him as many times as possible so that he eventually buys my product.
Ryan talked about removing friction. What it basically he summed up is like what is happening in the market basically. And then after what he talked about, he talked about media plan influence. One of the examples he gave was cooking on a fire pit. So it's like basically it's an outdoor product, but it has different target audiences and segments. Specifically, like for aesthetic people that are just watching a view outside or whatever. Like it's just for a good view, just sitting right there stationary, just so you can look at and you're not basically doing anything with it. That could be one audience of that target market. Another one could be like hunters. What he brought up, like example, like for hunters when they're going out hunting, they can cook on the fireplace their catch or their food or whatever. That basically is a different target audiences than what an aesthetic view audience might look, but it's trying to mix together so he can have better sales, into which both target audiences can get the product.
Yeah, the fire pit. And then he also talked about how he worked on this brand for Parkinson's disease device. It was a very new device in the market, and so it was just launched. And the way his team approached it was that they looked at the best practices in the pharmaceutical industry for maximum reach and frequency in the awareness stage of the product. So what their strategy was that too much exposure can also have negative attitude towards the brand. So if Rashad is my customer and I'm launching a new product and I'm showing him the ad too many times in the awareness phase, he might be irritated by seeing so much of my brand that he might start developing negative feelings towards it. So it's very important to have that balance between the frequency of the exposure to ads to the target customer. And so he showed us a chart about the frequency of the ads throughout the months, and what we concluded is that in the initial stage, it's important to slowly increase the frequency of the ads shown to your target audience as the months progress, instead of just bombarding your target audience in the first month. Slowly increase the exposure a little by little. And the best strategy that worked, that gave them the most impactful results for the Parkinson's device, was to combine both media exposure with representative interactions that had the most impact on the sales. And in this case, they combined both in-person marketing with digital marketing, and the combination worked the best for them.
Then he talked about like AI increasing every year. So from basically, he showed us charts from like 2022 when AI was first implemented, and then until 2026 now, and then into the future, that it is increasing every year. Most people that use AI, he said in the lecture, or like the video that it was, he used it for work purposes. Then he showed us the website Evertune. It provides a report on how to increase your brand visibility. It can, using AI, it can audit your website, and it can score your website. And for that, it could be more like, how can you show your website for more visibility for consumers. Then he showed us a scale chart for that after the Super Bowl. Claude is doing better than OpenAI ChatGPT, based on what you prefer, like what are you trying to do with it. Like for example, video creation, it would probably be better for like Claude or like another AI that you're using. And then like with text basis, ChatGPT, like that is the best for like that. We also said that small and mid-sized clients prefer more AI use, because their brand has fewer people and lower budgets for them, so they don't have the resources for that. So that's why they tend to use more AI for their businesses and brand and product. For the future, Ryan said the use of AI for him is to have more planning for higher, like the highest products on shopping agencies like Amazon, Walmart, like whatever you're shopping on, for the feature page, so everyone can see your product for more exposure, so it can get more attention, and you can increase your sales by that and get more just exposure by people seeing your product.
Yeah, so what we see on the featured page on Amazon is all done by AI. So AI analyzes the products you usually view on Amazon, and it suggests you similar products so that you're tempted to buy more, because it's similar type of products that you usually buy, and it's all planned by AI. So he thinks that Ryan thinks that the AI will be used more in the future to do those kinds of automations, and for media planning like that, so that AI can analyze your history, your data, and just combine all of it to recommend you the products you're most likely to buy based on your product buying history on that app or website. Yeah. And he also suggested that for students like us who study marketing and want to get into the industry, it's best to get certifications like Google certification for data analytics, search certifications, and display certifications. And he also suggested looking at certifications from Institute of Organizational Development. And he also recommended to keep a pulse on the market, how the market is doing, and looking out for big companies that are the big players in the market, and applying for work in those companies. So those are our biggest takeaways from the guest lecture.
Mm-hmm.